Well, it's been a busy summer here in Northern Ireland as we've had to take some calculated risks. We've also been at our very best when it comes to bargain hunting, and although there's still a couple of the pieces of the puzzle to be put together, we are generally looking ready to be contenders. Let's go and see if you agree. Time for a summer transfer special. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 10 and the start of season 2 from Lifting Spirits with Distillery from me, Daniel. We are back today to go through a busy summer transfer window. We hinted at it in the last episode, we've taken some gambles, we've tried to get better value for money with our little tiny bit of wage budget, and we've stretched things a little. So hopefully we've got a squad that's ready to compete. We'll also play our first league game of the season against recently promoted Crewe United, and after a really good showing away from home in the Cup, I'm hoping we've got a chance this year. There's also a couple of other little surprises too, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And I've managed to sign a former Luton player too. It's all happening here, I promise you. So if you want to stay up to date and you are looking forward to it, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video and subscribe for daily FM23 content. We'll be back later today with the head coach and streaming every day on Twitch throughout the beta. You can find those links in the eye above. But today we're talking all about the save that we're in control of transfers in, and thank goodness as well. It makes such a lovely difference. That's going to be the main focus here. There are loads of players in, loads of players out, and we've taken some gambles. So let's start by talking about the financial side and a little change on the staffing side too, because there's a former Northern Irish international in town. And if we go to the staffing screen, that man is our new assistant manager, Sammy Klingon. 39 caps, he's very decent as a coach as well, fairly determined personality, had been the reserves manager at Welders, had played at Glenavon and Linfield at the end of his career. He's a really good one for us to have, improves the coaching, improves the personalities behind the scenes, and gives us a bit more reputation. Got his Continental A already, he's got a 2-year deal, great to have him on board. I think that will help massively. In terms of the rest of the team, Seamus Heath signed a new deal. He's good, pretty good coach as well across the board. And Jason McCartney was the other to come in. He's 8s all around, so not bad at all, and a big upgrade on what we had prior to that. Maybe just lacking a goalkeeping coach, but the one who's here, I mean, he's not really worth having around. We could get anyone to do what he's doing there. I could probably do it better. But either way, it is improvements, it is upgrades. And the team that we've got overall now is pretty good behind the scenes for this level. With that done though, let's talk about a gamble we took on the transfer market. About a month ago, we were still short in a couple of positions. We were just running out of wage bill. So I went to the scouting and I finally bit the bullet. I brought the scouting budget down. We're no longer scouting the whole of Northern Ireland. We're just doing the surrounding divisions. And that meant that we got an extra £144 into the wage bill. And we're trying to spend it. We've got one striker to get in. It's the only position we're weaker than last year. Everywhere else, I think we've got a massive upgrade. And I think we're ready to compete for the title. Let's go and meet the players, see if you agree, and then we'll see if the media agree too. To the transfer window, and we'll start with the outs. So at the end of last season, we talked about the decisions we were going to make in this transfer window, and for the most part, that's what we did. We released Grimley, we released Boyd, we released Aaron Brown. Curley and Aaron Smith, as we sort of suspected, did retire. I tried to convince him to stay on and be our backup right back, but he just wasn't having it. Bit of a shame because we haven't really got that depth on that side. But otherwise, all of them pretty good servants, not going to be involved much this year. But this season, I've made a big decision already because one of the men released in the 23-24 season just 2 weeks ago is Matthew Lynch, the centre midfielder. He dropped a 2.5 star, he'd been on and off unhappy about various things, and we found better players, which when you look at how good he is a pretty good sign for this year, because he was one of our best players last season, and we've got ourselves some big upgrades. Let's go and have a look at the other players who left the club though. In terms of all transfers at the start of the summer, Francis McGuinness, he was in the reserves, but he was a stalwart at this club. And the other one was someone we did play a bit more, Kieran Clougherty. Lots of substitute appearances, but he left the club at 26, and that one was pre-agreed. Now then, Let's move on to ins, because there's a lot of excitement. We've got 4 there, including one from Linfield, and we've got 3 down there, including one you knew about, and a familiar name. So 7 signings in total, some renewed loans. Not crucially, the one of Leon Boyd, which is the one we most wanted, of course. He has chosen to reject us, and it looks like he's going to either a top championship club or maybe even a top tier team. So we can't begrudge him it. He was a brilliant servant. But I'm looking at a player at the moment that might be almost as good. So we'll get to them in a minute, but let's talk about the ones that have come in, because there is a lot of excitement with some of these signings. Some of them found by the director of football, some in the scout reports. To be honest, I haven't done a great deal of the work. Other than finding Bobby Harvey at the start and bringing back Brian Healy, I can't take much credit for this, but if we get promoted, you can bet I'm going to. Let's start with Bobby Harvey, because he was the man we knew about, and he's still officially the best player at the club on paper. What a signing he's turned out to be. Of course, his role has taken on almost instantly more importance because of the retirement of Smith. We were planning to maybe use him as a left back or centre half. Well, he's now got to be first choice right back because he's the only one left at the club. But a very good player, great in a tackle, good stamina, and everything else is pretty good. And these players are starting to improve now as well, because we've got 3 genuinely good coaches. With the average facilities and those 3 in the club, these players are starting to develop, and regular football will only help that more. Let's go and look at the other 2 as well, because Daniel McGill came in on loan from Anna United. He is 26 years of age, is only till December when his contract expires. But as well as being 3-star ability, as well as being 6'2" and having a good jumping reach, he's basically a slightly better version all-round of Grimley for no wage. The big thing that stood out for me, model citizen personality, very determined, very aggressive. And I looked back at last season on reflection when we were doing all those data hub bits. One of the things we actually lacked as well was determination. Having a lot of players that reacted if they were behind or if they lost the lead. And having a few more players like that, it will not be a bad thing this year. Daniel McGill, will keep an eye on him. And if he does well, we can sign him on a permanent if he doesn't get snapped up. And then the third one that came in early in the summer was Brian Healy. We know him very well. He was on loan the second half of last year. And I couldn't find a great right winger. So someone who was in form, played really well for us, looked a threat, could cover up front. I mean, it ticked all the boxes. I know he's only 2.5-star ability, but he wanted a nominal appearance fee. He's got 5-star potential. He'll improve with football, so he comes in. And that moves us on to this season and the sort of later work that we've used to fill in the gaps in the squad. And the first one is another signing from Linfield on loan, and one I'm really pleased with. Kielum Reid is a left and central defender. He is 3.5-star ability, 5-star potential. He's very solid across the board. He's a natural centre half, but he's actually playing as our left back at the minute. Great positioning, something we dearly missed last year. Good decision making, 6'2", not the best jumper, but got the height, which matters, and very solid defensive attributes. I like him. Big upgrade across the board, and depending on what happens with the other lad we looked at, he can either then become centre half or he can stay left back for the year. Then 3 weeks later, we get to the first of 2 midfield signings and a former Luton man. That is Jack Chambers, who came in from the 4th tier here. He was a former Luton youth player many years ago, played in the English non-leagues and has played in Northern Ireland. But 3.5-star ability, 3 in the roles we're going to use. Big potential too. You can see he scored in the cup game. It was a cracking free kick as well. But he's a good player, just solid across the board, 7s and 8s. No real standout attributes bar first touch, but fit, works hard, got good vision, and he's a decent player. So in either of those midfield roles, he can be a really solid pro for us. And alongside him now, if we skip down one, is Dara Levingston, who came in after a trial this week. Great spot by the director of football. And look at him. He is a superstar at 21. He's got 3.5-star ability already, big potential to grow into, and the one thing he seems to be missing in his career is regular football. Just 25 senior appearances, a lot of them off the bench. 8s, 9s and 10s everywhere. I mean, he's better than Chambers, but he's a great partner for him. And now we're back to Josh Lynch and Neil Ballantyne being backups. Yes, Lynch would have kept the squad stronger if we'd kept him, Matthew Lynch that is, but he wasn't as good as these two. We've got rounded midfielders, we've got solid players, and I'm really happy. Again, 5'11", not bad in the air, and all of his other attributes are pretty good. So Darragh Levingston is going to be a superstar. He will make his debut today. And the other one is a striker. We couldn't get Leon Boyd back. We've not been able to improve there yet. Lots of trialists, but we were waiting for the wages to come down, waiting for the right one too. So in the meantime, we've just loaned in Peter McKiernan from Carrick. He rejected us in January, but he's a solid pro. 3-star ability, 13 finishing, 13 off the ball, 13 pace acceleration. Not a good all-round player by any means, but puts the ball in the net, which is what we need. So we'll see how his fitness builds, how he gets on. And we did have him at Cliftonville in FM20 as well. Didn't really set the world alight there, but here, third tier level, might be a different story. Let me take you very quickly though, before we go and get into the game, to the transfer centre. Because you can see here what's been going on. Ballantyne might yet be on his way out. That could give us a slight headache. But we've got 3 players who have been in on trial that we're looking at as a potential centre forward. The one that we're offering a contract to now is first choice. Connor Davis just below it is a good player who could yet come in because he's versatile. And Mason Melia, 20 quid appearance fee, and at 18 looks about 2.5 3-star, although his attributes have now disappeared again. But let's have a look at the 2 that we're looking at closely. Sam Verdon is first. This is the one I want. He's not the same profile as Leon Boyd, but he's a very good player overall. 6'2", I'm thinking of set pieces again. Good in the air, good on the floor, loves a long shot, likes to get forward, can cover centre midfield as well, can cover number 10. I mean, he just looks really high quality. He's got the physical, he's got the mental, and he's got the technical. We couldn't ask for more. Best corner taker at the club, not that he'll be on them at 6'2", but really good. A big upgrade in general quality. Almost reminds me a bit of McKee, who plays in our number 10 at the minute. So 2 of those, hopefully both score 23 goals, and then we've got 46. A-star according to the scout reports, but if not, it will be Connor Davis. He is 25 years of age, has been on trial. The only thing that puts me off with him is he's not the best finisher. He can play, though, any of the 3 in behind pretty well. So to sign him as sort of the first backup who doesn't play off the bench, but if anyone gets injured, he can then be our regular. I kind of see that as a potential good deal. I don't really think he suits the centre forward role. Poor finishing, poor anticipation, not the best technique, but everything else is great. And as a result of that, I think Connor Davis might yet still come in. And to be fair, he only wanted an appearance fee of like 60 quid. It's less than Aaron Brown had last year. It seems too silly to turn down, particularly when we're going with a slightly smaller squad. So all of those could be into the club by next week. Basically, Verdon is the final piece of the jigsaw, and keeping Ballantyne is an important one too. But let's have a look, as it stands, where that leaves our squad, because it's fairly small. There's only 18, 19 players in there. But don't forget, that's before we've promoted any of the under-19s. And that's the difference between this save and the head coach. Yes, the squad looks similar here at the moment, but we've got 6 or 7 kids we can push in if need be. Here at the start of the season last year, we didn't have many games. Without a Winter World Cup, I'd imagine it'll be even lighter. So I'm not going to push it too much. We'll see how these lads get on. The only decisions we've really got to make are what we do with the 5 defenders. Does Warnock come in? Do we play a back 3 at some point? There are options on the road if we struggle again. And which keeper do we go for? Ethan Carey or Neil Graham? Graham played well in the cup. I've got a big decision to make today. So let's go and get into it via the Intermediate League season preview, where we are predicted as heavy odds-on favourite. So I think not only we've had a good summer, which there's no doubt in that, we've recruited really well, proper wheeling and dealing, bit of bargain shopping, but other clubs have lost some of their star players to higher tier teams. 1 or 2 of them have lost managers as well. But you look at people like Callum Ferris, superstar at Dolinstown last year. He's gone to Glentoran at 22, up to the top tier. There's so many examples of that where people have gone up to either, say, the second or the first tier. And I'm hoping, as a result of that, we're going to have a really good season. However, I do exercise caution when you look at this season preview and the odds, because the relegated club Knock Breda are now heavy favourites to get relegated again. And that's despite the fact their captain and centre-half is a player we tried to bring in multiple times. They've not really lost anyone. They've signed a couple. I don't see how they're favourites to go down. So maybe it's just that they're all over the place rather than being accurate. Regardless, we're expected to do better than last year. So let's go and get through to the fixtures and into the first game. I've got genuine pre-season excitement here. We're against promoted Crewe. We should be winning at home. So let's get through the tactical meeting, pick our 11 for today. We'll be back in a moment to run through it, as well as reflect on our opening cup game. Here's the big decision then. Carey versus Graham. Very close, but it looks like Graham is the better in most areas other than speed. And if we get up the attributes, Carey's better handling. He's better throwing the ball out, but kicking then Graham levels that out anyway. He's better in the air. He's got a bigger jumping reach. I think he's a little bit taller as well. No, he's not, but seems to deal with it better anyway. And in teamwork, positioning much better, composure and concentration as well. I'm going to go for Graham. Didn't have the best game in the cup, but didn't really have anything to do, so it just stuck with the basic. This is the rest of the team. I'm really happy with it. Our first 18 is strong. There is no doubt in that. The bench today includes Josh Lynch, includes Ethan Warnock, Jordan Shearer. All of those were first choice on the first day of last season. It's an indicator of how far we've come, and the rest of the squad. There's no real big weaknesses. We've got Neil Graham in goal. Controversial decision, I know. Harvey and Reid are the fullbacks with Farquhar and Daniel McGill as centre-half. Livingston comes in for his debut alongside Chambers. They've swapped sides to deal with the footedness and so I don't have to readjust the set pieces. Healy, Withers and McKee the midfield three, and then Peter McKiernan up front ahead of them. If we need to, Shearer's there, but they're only going to play one game. Then we're getting a superstar in. Let me very quickly show you what happened in the game off camera. It was a really good cup performance against the team in this league too. 4-0 win against Ballymacash Rangers. Mark McKee gave us a first half lead. Brian Healy scored a really good goal. Jack Chambers with a free kick in the 90th minute. And then Bobby Robinson, remember him? Popping up in the 93rd with a fourth. So 4-star performance in that game. Some real big debutants in this one. So let's go and get into it. Hope the optimism isn't dampened straight away. I want a title charge this season. I think we've got an opportunity. The question today though, before the transfer window closes, is can we score the goals before the striker signs? One change for Crewe United from their last game. We've played friendly since our cup match, so it could be irrelevant for them too. One thing that should be noted though, is their front line. They've got players like Dean Waters, Jack Sharvin, who's better than any of our current strikers. And look at their centre-half. Familiar name anyone? His first league game after leaving the club is against us. Luke Grimley has been snapped up by them. So they're a decent side and I'd expect them to do alright this year. He was a good performer for us last year, but our players now are better. They've got to prove it though. Let's pump the fist. We're favourites for a reason. No response. I want one on the pitch. Well, we are back with 25 minutes on the clock. Been a nothing game according to the stats as McGill wins a header at the back. Livingston loses a challenge to McMullen and McCulloch. This could be a real dampener if we end up going behind. Through ball to Sharvin. Was he offside? I hope so. He's not. The flag stays down. We're 1-0 down and within 25 minutes, all of that optimism's gone. Favourites? Favourites for what? Because this has been a pretty awful display. Well, nearly half time. It's a corner kick and we need a set piece to save us here. And thankfully it does. Debutant Darragh Livingston, he's up at the back stick. We mentioned that he was tall. We mentioned he was good in the air. And he saves us because it's been an awful display. We get back on terms before half time. It's an important moment in this game. Now we've got to go and make it count in the second half. We've got to play better than that. So let's go and talk to the lads. We're going to tell them they can still win this match. We've gone positive. Tried to get in the ascendancy a bit more at home. But I'm not sure if it's working at the minute. We have got game changers on the bench. But as you can see, we're just missing that striker at the moment. Someone who can create something from nothing. And now it's a Crewe United corner. It could get worse. Into the front post. Farquhar up, but only as far as the edge of the box. McMullen crosses. There's two men unmarked. Sharvin hits the woodwork. Harvey clears. And it's out to Waters on the left. He crosses in again. Sharvin's up. McGill finally clears it. It's not been a good display. We don't deserve to win. With 25 to go, we're going to make changes. Well, looking at the performances here, we're struggling for fitness with McGill at centre-half. So on will come Ethan Warnock. We're going to move Farquhar over one and Reid over one as well. They're very good in those roles. Looking as well into midfield, Chambers on a yellow, not playing well. Had a knock in the week, so Josh Lynch on for him. And then up front, Peter McKiernan off, Jordan Shearer on. Still hasn't scored since January, bar pre-season friendlies. I could do with him putting that right here. Let's go and get through, confirm the changes. We've got to be better. It's been a really disappointing display after that flyer in the cup last week. Are we now going to get to the position as Shearer's up, hits the post? Are we going to go back to what we had at the start of last year, where we suddenly can't win at home and then win away? I don't understand it. But overall, we're still in the game. This is a decent Crewe United team. Can we wear them down late on as Healy gets down the right-hand side? This early in the season, this many new players, it's not about how you win. It's just about winning. As Harvey shoots from miles out, we're not going to score like that. 10 minutes to go. What do? I might go attacking. I might chase it because I feel a win is so important. Let's encourage the boys. Let's go aggressive. Let's see if we can get a winner. Just over 5 left. I'm going to bring on Mr. Game Saver himself, Pierce McVarnock, for the very tired Mark McKee. And then the same on the left wing, to be honest. Withers is knackered. He's not playing well. I'm going to leave it 2 more, though. I don't want to make changes where we don't need to. And we're back with 3 minutes to go. Ethan Warnock has the ball at left back for Lisburn Distillery. Hoof long downfield. No one's getting there. This game's a bit open. And I picked a smaller pitch, but it looks like we've got a big one. As Shearer goes right to Levingston. Has support inside. Shoots himself. Hits the woodwork. Shearer puts the rebound in. And he's onside. And he ends the goal drought. Jordan Shearer in the 88th minute has given us the much needed 3 points. We've got to hold on for the victory now. We'll just make a time-wasting sub. I'm going to take off Levingston late on his debut. Ballantyne can come on there. We'll switch the roles, get them back to where they're used to. And Ballantyne adds height from set pieces. So deep line playmaker on defend there. We'll go Mazzala on support there. We've got 2 minutes to hold on, plus whatever stoppage time. And then it's a good start to the season. Don't care how we do it. It could be 3 points. Well, goal scorer Shearer has now picked up a knock. He's not going anywhere for now. What I am going to do, though, is chuck on the time wasting, chuck on the discipline, slow the pace down. Out of possession, back you go, lads. Back you go. There's no need to be attacking. Let's go and get back into it. We'll change the fullbacks as well, actually, with 30 seconds left. They can go on to defensive duties, which they're both better at anyway. And through we go. 4 minutes up. 3 points on the board. A cup win, a league win. Who cares how we did it? We won in the end. And at this stage, that's all that's important. We weren't our best, but we got the result. Now let's see when we're going to be back. And to make things nice and easy to kick off the season, we're going to be back for the very next game. Because in the League Cup second round, we've drawn top tier Dungannon. We've also got top tier Crusaders in the Shield. So we're not going far in these competitions. But it will be transfer deadline day as well. And I want to see what striker we can get in. So Dungannon, deadline day, and maybe Knock Breda as well. They're the relegated side who are favourites to go down. If we play against the promoted club and the relegated club, it might even out in giving us expectation for the year. Hopefully we can pick up a few more 45 quids this season. We've got Shearer out of the goal drought with another striker coming in. There are a lot of positives on the way for this football club. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of all of our transfer work and our performance on the opening league game. But do you think we've got a chance now with the work we've done? Or is it going to be a little bit too far? Let me know what you think. If you did enjoy the episode, please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe for daily FM23 content. We'll be back later today with the head coach. We'll be live streaming on Twitch every day. Links up in the eye above. But thank you very much for coming along as always. And I hope to see you same time tomorrow, because this is going to be a big one. Deadline day, hopefully a new striker, and top tier opposition in the cup. You can't ask for more than that. I'll see you there.